Welcome to my channel! Learn with Teacher Ali!
English, Grade 3, Quarter 2, Week 1, Day 1. And our topic is all about high-frequency words, important elements from stories, demonstrative pronouns, and retelling a myth. Here is our activity number 1. Students, think about your favorite mythical creatures like dragons, unicorns, or mermaids. Share with a partner or in a small group what you know about these creatures. Then after that, answer the following questions. What powers do they have? And what are their characteristics? Today, we will explore high-frequency words and learn about myths. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to identify high-frequency words, note important details in a story, and retell a myth using the 5-finger method. Let's have our activity number 3, which is the word association game. I will say a word and you respond with the word that is associated with it. For example, if I say myth, you might say legend. Let's play. Legend. Story. Creature. Magic. Myth. Here are some possible associated words for each of the given words. Now, listen to the story of Anubis, the Egyptian god of mummification. As you listen, pay attention to high-frequency words and important details in the story. Anubis was the ancient Egyptian god of mummification and the afterlife. He was often depicted as a man with the head of a jackal. Anubis protected the dead and helped guide them through the afterlife. One day, Anubis met a young pharaoh who was lost in the desert. Anubis guided the pharaoh back to his kingdom. Identify the high-frequency words in the story of Anubis. Write them down in your notebook. Examples might include the words like the and of. What are the important details in the story of Anubis? Note the characters, setting, and events. Share with a partner or in a small group. Now, students, sequence the events in the story of Anubis. Use numbers 1 to 3 to order the events. Identify the demonstrative pronouns in the following sentences. Read each item carefully and select the letter that corresponds to the correct answer. For number 7, compare and contrast Anubis with another mythical creature. For number 8, do you think Anubis is an important god in Egyptian mythology? Why or why not? 9. Create a short story about a mythical creature that guides people through a challenging journey. For additional activity, ask students to research and retell another myth using the 5-finger method. Have students create a short story about a mythical creature that guides people through a challenging journey. And provide additional practice on high-frequency words and demonstrative pronouns. Day 2. And our topics are sentences and non-sentences, grade 3 appropriate basic sight words, and VCV word patterns. Students, think about your favorite regional festival or tradition. Write down 5 words that come to mind when you think of it, and share your words with a partner and explain why you choose them. Today, we will learn to decode and write words with the VCV pattern correctly. Identify sight words, differentiate a sentence from a non-sentence, use vocabulary words referring to regional themes, and express ideas about one's experiences or regional themes adequately. Let's have our activity number 3, which is the word chain. This is a work with a partner. Take turns saying a word related to regional themes that start with the last letter of the previous word. For example, if the previous word was tirad pas, you could say sinigang. Achara, a common side dish. The last letter of achara is A. Can you think of a word that starts with A? Adobo, a popular Filipino dish. The last letter of adobo is O. Can you think of a word that starts with O? Overnight, as in overnight trips or stays. The last letter of overnight is T. Can you think of a word that starts with T? Suman, a type of rice cake. The last letter of suman is N. Can you think of a word that starts with N? Nilupak. The last letter of nilupak is K. Can you think of a word that starts with K? Now, students, let us read the following short story. The Sinulog Festival. In Cebu, the Sinulog Festival is a big event. People dance in the streets wearing colorful costumes. They honor the Santo Niño, a statue of the child Jesus. The festival is a time for celebration and feasting. Now, read the following phrases and identify which ones are sentences and which one are not. Discuss your answer with a partner. Find 5 words in the story that follow the VCV pattern. Example is dancer. Write them down and use each word in a sentence about regional themes. Students, create a collage using pictures or words that represent different regional themes in the Philippines. Write a short paragraph explaining the significance of each theme. Read each item carefully and select the letter that corresponds to the correct answer. Day 3. Our topic is about retelling a myth, possessive pronouns, identifying problem solution, and high-frequency words. Think about the fables you've heard or read before. Can you recall a story that taught you a valuable lesson? Share it with your neighbor. Write down the main character, setting, and the moral of the story. Today, we'll be reading a new fable and learning about possessive pronouns. By the end of the lesson, you'll be able to retell the story in your own words, identify possessive pronouns, and understand the problem solution structure of the story. Now, students, correct the following sentences with the correct possessive pronoun. Students, let us read the following fable. The wind and the sun argued over who was stronger. They decided to test each other's strength by trying to make a traveler remove his cloak. The wind blew with all his might, but the traveler held his cloak tightly. The sun shone brightly, and the traveler grew hot, so he removed his cloak. The sun said, "Gentleness is stronger than force." Put the following events in order. Use number 1 to 5 to order the events. And then find examples of possessive pronouns in the story. How do they help us understand the relationship between the characters and objects in the story? Retell the story of the wind and the sun in your own words. Use possessive pronouns to describe the characters and objects in the story. Read each item carefully and select the letter that corresponds to the correct answer. Retell a fable of your choice using possessive pronouns and highlighting the problem solution structure. You can use puppets, drawings, or any other creative method to retell the story. Day 4. Our topic are telling or declarative sentences, part of a sentence, word order in sentences, correct mechanism in writing or capitalization and punctuation, sight words, and VCV word patterns. Today, we'll be learning about telling sentences, parts of a sentence, and word patterns. By the end of the lesson, you'll be able to identify sight words, decode and write words with the VCV pattern correctly, and use correct capitalization and punctuation in writing telling sentences. Find and circle the following sight words in the given paragraph. Now let us read the following story. The dog is happy. He is playing with his ball in the park. The sun shines brightly, and the dog runs quickly. Let us identify the parts of the sentence. Number 1, the dog is happy. Decode and write words with the VCV patterns correctly. Write a telling sentence about your favorite animal. Use correct capitalization and punctuation. Read each item carefully and select the letter that corresponds to the correct answer. For our additional activity, write a short paragraph using at least 5 telling sentences about your favorite season. Use correct capitalization and punctuation. Thank you for listening. End of week 1.
Thank you for watching. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell for you to be updated on our latest videos. See you on our next lesson. Goodbye!